And so a lot of you have been asking for my thoughts on Near Protocol. I'm going to be sharing some TA, some instant price targets, which we could be hitting very shortly, plus my longer term view on what I think of Near Protocol and whether I'm going to invest. Guys, smash up the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. This is going to be a jam-packed episode, and hopefully by the end of it, you have a good idea about what Near Protocol is and what it's about. So, short-term time frame, first of all, let's take a quick look at the hourly chart. And here on the hourly chart, you can see we're forming this descending wedge. Now, we need to understand we're forming this descending wedge, which most of the times, higher probability, 2/3 of the time, it breaks to the upside, which is very interesting. So here on the hourly chart, you could see an upside break towards $4.40 from a technical perspective. But this is when it becomes very important to weigh up the technicals with the fundamentals and what's happening with the wider economy. Right now, we're seeing Bitcoin on the hourly come to get a retest from the neckline of a potential head and shoulders breakout. Now, if it gets a successful retest and is managed to bounce and go towards its price target of 26k, then we can expect altcoins to really explode. But if we play out the bearish scenario, which is that we lose our neckline, then we could be testing this right shoulder and this head pattern here. If you haven't seen my video breaking this down, go watch my video from a couple of hours ago and you understand exactly what is happening with Bitcoin. But for now, Near Protocol, the reason you need to understand that is if Bitcoin breaks to the downside, we could be looking at testing this level at $3.26. If Bitcoin goes a little bit further, then we could be looking at testing $2.93. So you need to be prepared for those levels. Now, zooming out a little bit more, because this video is a little bit more zoomed out, a bit more of a macro approach about whether this is a good project. You can see that we're super retraced from all-time highs here on Near Protocol. You can see that it did indeed run up to 20 odd. That would have been in earlier this year. And now you can see you are managing to buy Near Protocol as low on the wick as $2.67. So you can see we've got a clear downward trend, but an attempt to break this trend, right? You can see a couple of days ago, you did get the break of this trend, and now you're getting again almost a retest. So if that wedge, which I showed you on the hourly, does break out, and you do indeed head up towards the price target I shared, this could simply be a retest of the trend before move to the upside. Now, obviously, we need to see what happens with Bitcoin and the wider economy. This is just an altcoin after all. But for now, let's take a look at why we think this is a good project. And by the way, if you want to trade Near Protocol, you can do so using BITGET. BITGET is my favorite exchange at the moment and the one I'm using most frequently. Link is in the description. They're giving you up to 10% in immediate cashback. How nice of them. Plus many other awards. I mean, you can see they pop up all the time. 60,000 here showing on my browser at the top in spot trading rewards await. Definitely get yourself set up and trade on BITGET and take some of these moves with me. Now, this is what initially got my ear up here. As you can see on Masari, so these are total assets across crypto-focused fund portfolios. Okay, so what we can see is in H1, Polkadot was the most commonly held asset by crypto funds in the first half of this year. Oasis Network second, but what you can see is Near Protocol came in at 6th spot, which is very, very interesting and shows how much what you can call corporate adoption Near Protocol has, which is very interesting. And I think that is the common theme behind Near Protocol. It's a very corporate-friendly layer one solution. When you look at the team that's built out, you've got person at OpenAI here, Alexander. You've got Ilya, who was ex-Google, and a really solid team here, which gives you a lot of confidence when you look at the depth of their knowledge and experience across many great companies such as Google, the Play Store, Google Code Jam. I mean, so many successful here, WebAssembly, Mozilla, OpenAI. So this is huge, right? So you can see the team really does have a depth of knowledge. And trust me, this makes a difference. I've sat with many layer one solutions with small teams, and literally it's just sometimes 1 or 2 devs. There's no depth of team. So for Near Protocol to be having this depth of team, that is really, really important. Also moving on, they've got huge backers, okay? Metastable, Accomplice, A16Z, one of the biggest funds, Multicoin Capital, Scalar Capital, really big players here, Dragon Capital, Pantera, some of the really biggest funds you can get in the crypto space, Coinbase Ventures as well, noteworthy. So they're definitely backed by the institutional money, which is very big. And the proof of the pudding was that they raised, well, actually, before that, they raised 50 million, by the way, guys, without ever building anything in their first 4 months when they formed their team. So this shows their ability to go and raise funds. And this is important. Anybody who knows from traditional startups or in businesses, the CEOs who can raise funds, that is a really important trait. You can have an amazing CEO who doesn't know how to pitch or present his idea or to tell VC funds you want to get involved and raise those big funds to help them go become a unicorn. And that's not worthy, is it? You need a CEO, you need a leader who can go raise funds, sell the dream, raise the funding, so you can actually go build out and fulfill what that dream is. So they raised that much. They then raised a total of 533 million in funding to date. So that's $500 million in just funding they've managed to raise. They've also got the $800 million global ecosystem funding, which is really, really good to support. Remember, more funding here means more attracting to dApp developers. The layer one space, what's going to decide who wins the layer one space? We can talk about technology all we want, right? The blockchain trilemma, scalability, decentralization, scalability, fine. But what it really stacks up to is who's going to attract the dApp developers. The dApp developers are in a real position of strength where they can go develop on Phantom. They can go develop on Solana. Cardano is now up and running. They can develop on Ethereum, of course, Avalanche. How do they pick? They pick based on incentives and where they can get the most support to build their platform out. Okay, that was really important. I think the other thing which was really important was that Near Protocol is built with usability first. I remember reading their white paper and they use this really good analogy. And they said, what's the point of having usability before scalability? In other words, why would you build a 100,000 person seater stadium in a desert where nobody's going to want to sit in the stadium? So they're going along the approach of let's create something that's usable and then we'll figure out scalability as and when we go along. We're not going to neglect it, but we figure it out as much as we need and then just kind of bootstrap it along, which is an interesting take, right? So you had, I mean, if you look at the scales of difference, you've got something like Ethereum, which just launched, no thought about it, and then had to figure out the scaling issue. Then got other platforms, let's say like a Phantom or Solana, which claim to have huge throughput. And then they say, okay, we've got ample. Now we'll go find people to use our blockchain. This is almost a bit of a hybrid approach to that, which is very interesting. Now, speaking of usability, they want to make things easier to use. So instead of MetaMask type long strings of alphanumeric wallet addresses, they use simple .near addresses. Okay, so you can use Ijaz.near and you'll be able to interact using that, which is really, really interesting. Also, 30% of all rewards go to smart contract developers. So they really do want to attract some of these smart contract developers. Interestingly, they were one of the first layer one solutions to get, well, they were the first layer one solution to get compatibility and integration with MetaMask, the first non-EVM chain to do so, which is huge. You don't even need to download the Near wallet. You can interact directly with the Near ecosystem using your MetaMask wallet. Important that, and this is probably something we'll have to do a deeper dive on instead of just mentioning it here, but one of their critical key features is their ability to do nightshade sharding. And again, this is the most important feature because what it allows is different executions to be run in parallel instead of in series. The majority of blockchains will work in series. These run in parallel, allowing higher, not just throughput, but higher number of transactions to go through. So throughput can still struggle with congestion, which is what they say, but with this night sharding technique, they feel they can overcome that, okay? Now, we know it's a proof of stake network, but Near Protocol also boasts something they call a threshold proof of stake. We've seen something similar before, but in essence, I think it was called pure proof of stake by Algorand. But in essence, with the threshold proof of stake, which they've created as their consensus mechanism, what you have to do is there's an auction to determine how many seats each of the validators get. Because sometimes in just pure proof of stake, in just normal proof of stake, what you get is you can have certain people with large wallet addresses becoming the validators and therefore creating centralization, which is counterproductive to what they want to achieve. So that's their consensus mechanism. And then finally, just to rattle through this for you guys, they've also got the Ethereum Near Rainbow Bridge. So you can bridge across your ERC20 tokens across to Near. They've also got Aurora, which allows you to port your dApps across from Ethereum and use the same language, etc., but built on the Near protocol. So you can see they've got loads going on. Reminds me of a great project. I mean, coming back to the pricing, you're going to want to watch my video, which I link up at the end of this video, because I go into the tokenomics and whether I think Near can 100x realistically from here. But shorter term, where do I think it can go? Well, you can see I've shared the technical pattern with you. I think on the hourly chart, we could, depending on Bitcoin, start getting a move here on this descending wedge, but we'll have to monitor where Bitcoin goes. Now, slightly more longer term, outside of our moonshot of where we think it can go to, if we just take the daily chart here, and what we do is take our Fibonacci retracement, and if we go from swing low, which is very crudely here, just to give you an idea, you guys can do this more accurately, I'm sure, on your side, but very crudely, you can see the Fibonacci retracement takes you comfortably 0.618 to 0.65 to $13.4 to $14.5 here on Near Protocol. So a comfortable risk to reward investment here on Near Protocol for it to comfortably get back to its Fibonacci retracement level without even achieving all-time highs. It's a nice, comfortable risk to reward level here on Near Protocol. So definitely one I'm looking out for right now. Am I buying right now today? No, I'm not currently buying Near Protocol today. If you want to understand why I'm not buying Near Protocol and also why I'm not buying Phantom, watch this video here, which I'm going to link up for you as well, okay? Because there's a bit of a fundamental reason I'm not currently piling into certain projects you're going to want to understand. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, if you want to buy Near Protocol, if you want to trade any of the moves which I shared with you, BITGET, links in description, will give you 10% off or 10% cashback when you deposit. So definitely check out BITGET. No KYC, no VPN needed if you're in the States. Easy to use, straightforward, simple exchange, as exchanges should be, right? Guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you appreciate this type of content. Let me know in the comments. Go watch the Tokenomics video on here, and I'll see you in the next one.